NASCAR Xfinity Series race has officially concluded from Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we see a ton of lightning delays, a ton of wrecks throughout the event, and Nick Sanchez holds off the hard-charging field and picks up his first career NASCAR Xfinity Series win at Atlanta. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Xfinity Series race from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We had quite a bit to talk about from this race. Let's go and talk about it. Let's first begin by talking about the driver who picked up their first career NASCAR Xfinity Series victory, and that is Nick Sanchez. Nick Sanchez had a very eventful day in the NASCAR Xfinity Series event. He was involved in a couple incidents. He was kind of partially involved in that big wreck that happened after the restart for the second rain delay, or the second lighting delay that took place in the event. Was partially a fault for the incident, but wasn't really fully at fault. Jesse Love tried to make a move to the outside of the guys up front and cause a massive incident and crash. Then later in the race, Nick Sanchez spun out near the end of stage number 2 and brought out another caution, but they moved their way up throughout the pack and got themselves back in the position. And Nick Sanchez had to hold off the field. His car was really, really good, especially at the end. We know how good those big machine racing cars have been, especially at the super speedways, and Nick Sanchez was able to get that done. So massive congratulations to Nick Sanchez on picking up his first career NASCAR Xfinity Series win. Nick Sanchez had a really, really great car today and gets it done. And I've said this for the last couple weeks. Nick Sanchez and his 48 team, they have found something. The speed of that 48 team, they've been getting faster and faster, and they've been showing a lot more speed, but they have had a ton of terrible luck so far in 2025. They probably should have been already in the playoffs at this point as it is. They've had top 5 and top 10 speed on a week-by-week basis, and tonight they fully capitalize on it, and they get that first career win, and they absolutely earned and deserved it after getting good pushes by Jesse Love to get up there, and Carson Quaffle and Eric Almirola, and all those guys that get up front. They put themselves in the right position, and Jesse Love is able to get, not Jesse Love, Nick Sanchez is able to get that first career win. So I'm really happy for Nick. Good to see Big Machine Racing win. It's the first win for the 48 team since Tyler Reddick, I believe back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, or 2021. So it's been 4 or 5 years since that 48 car's gone to victory lane. First time a full-time driver's gone to victory lane. Park Clearman got really close to winning with the team, but couldn't capitalize and get it done. So really happy for Nick. Congratulations to him on picking up his first Xfinity Series victory. After doing good in trucks the last couple years, I thought he'd come up here winning Xfinity, and he finally gets it done. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at the race results from the event, and then I'll give my score in today's race. One thing I forgot to mention is he actually had to spin and win this race, which is also really, really impressive. So good for Nick to get it done. So now let's just jump into the race results. So Nick Sanchez picks up the win. Carson Quaffle finishes second. So close to picking up that first career Xfinity Series victory. Been really showing some good speed. This is going to really help him in the playoffs with a really good run tonight. Had a fantastic night. Ran top 5, top 10 most of the day. He finishes second. Great run for Carson Quaffle. Sam Mayer finished third. Sam Mayer almost got caught up in a couple incidents and wrecks throughout the day. Ran really well today, though. I thought he'd be a factor for the victory. He had a really, really good car. Strong night for Sam Mayer. He finishes in third. Connor Zilisch finishes fourth. Just another really good day for Connor Zilisch. After Austin Hill and Jesse Love had their problems, I think Connor Zilisch probably actually had the fastest car. That 88 was so strong. He just ran out of time to get up there. He was charging in the last couple laps to get up front, but that is his 5th straight top 5 finish. Connor Zilisch is figuring these ovals out. He's becoming a really good super speedway racer, and tonight he just did an unbelievable and good job. Continues to impress me on a week-by-week basis. Was one of the cleanest drivers out there too. He finishes 4th. Taylor Gray finished 5th. Solid night for Taylor Gray. Led some laps, won a stage as well. Got a ton of points tonight. Showed some really good speed. Gets a top 5 finish in 5th place. Jesse Love finished 6th. Man, Jesse Love was a bat out of hell all night. He was all over the place. He caused the first major incident that took place. We'll talk about that for a second. So there was a massive wreck that happened down the back straightaway in the beginning of, near the end of stage number 1, but they were coming back to green after the lightning delay had taken place. Jesse Love tried to make a move to the outside of Sam Mayer to get to the race lead. Sam Mayer came up the racetrack a little bit, but Jesse Love tried to make a 3-wide move that I thought was really aggressive and way too risky, especially after coming after a red flag. He came down the racetrack. Nick Sanchez got in the back of him, and a ton of guys got collected, including Justin Allgaier. I think Austin Hill might have gotten some damage in that incident. Jesse Love got collected. Sheldon Creed got collected in that big wreck after having a dominant car early in the race. Sammy Smith got collected. Catherine Lay got collected. Patrick Sarapoli also got collected in that crash as well. There's a wreck earlier in the day where William Sawalch, Parker Reslab, Josh Williams also got collected in the wreck, but that wreck was a really bad move. And then he made another aggressive move that caused Harrison Burton to spin. I don't know what Jesse Love was doing tonight. Way too aggressive in this race, but he still finishes 6th, all things considered. Eric Almirola finished 7th. I think he led the most laps in this race of 48 laps. Almirola had a fantastic night. I thought Almirola would be a factor to go to victory lane. He had a really, really strong car. He had a good day today, had a fast enough car to contend for the win. Got forced back because he was kind of running low on gas and just didn't have the handling on the race car to be up there. He finishes in 7th. Daniel Dye finished 8th. Good rebound day for Daniel Dye. He's had some bad runs as of late, so good to see him rebound and finish inside the top 10. Kyle Seek finishes 9th. How about that for Kyle Seek, the scorer top 10? Solid night for him. And Jeremy Clements finished 10th. A quiet top 10 run for Jeremy Clements. Wasn't sure how he was going to do today. He had a pretty good run. He finished 10th. Dean Thompson finished 11th. Not a bad day for him. Leland Honeyman Jr. finished 12th. He was mixing up front early in this race, but got shoveled back. Had a really good save on the final restart and did a really good job hanging on to that car. He finished in 12th. Harrison Burton finished 13th despite the damage. He had a really good run, ran top 5, top 10 quite a bit of this race, but faded back as the night went on. He finishes 13th. Brandon Jones finished 14th, led a few laps, got a stage win as well, but not enough to be a massive factor and contender for the victory at the end. He finished 14th. Matt DiBenedetto finished 15th, not a bad run for him. He ran up front early in this race, but faded back on some of the late race restarts. Jeff Byrne with some damage. He gets a top 20 and 16th, not a bad run for him. Brendan Poole finishes in 17th. Joey Gates gets a top 20 and 18th. Christian Eckes, who got caught up in a couple incidents in this race, he got caught up in that first big wreck that took place down the backstretch. He finished 19th in the other wreck as well. And then Mason Massey finished 20th. Ryan Ellis finished 21st. Blaine Perkins finished 22nd. Garrett Smithley finished 23rd. Nick Lights finished 24th. Chris Wright finished 25th. After the checker flag had surfaced, those two were getting into each other and they were crashing each other coming to the checker flag. Seemed like there might have been some tension and beef, which I can't blame anyone being mad at Chris Wright because Chris Wright is always doing something kind of questionable at this point. Can't go week, it seems like, without Chris Wright getting involved in some sort of incident. He finished 25th. Austin Hill finished 26th. He was my pick coming in this race, and I really thought Austin Hill was going to be a factor. Unfortunately, Austin Hill's night really didn't get going. He unfortunately had field pressure issues after the first restart in the race, was up front early, and then Austin Hill had the field pressure issues and just never could recover. He went 6 laps down, got back on the track, and did get a top 30, but I think he would have been a factor for the win. He's been so good here at Atlanta. I think this is his worst finish ever at Atlanta Motor Speedway since we did the reconfiguration. Top break for Hill. A couple bad weeks as of late, too, because he did not have a good run at Pocono. Not a great day for Austin Hill, one of my the favorites to win, but nothing to show for it. Mason Maggio finished 27th. CJ McLaughlin finished 28th. Kyle Busch had some really good interactions with CJ McLaughlin on the radio, but that's about the highlights of CJ McLaughlin's night because he caused a couple cautions in this race. Once they're spinning maybe intentionally. The second one maybe for debris on the racetrack after a tire came off the car. I believe he finished 28th. Anthony Alfredo finished 29th. He got caught up in that big wreck. Ryan Seek finished 30th. Same thing, got caught up in the big crashing incident. Justin Allgaier finished 31st. Same thing, got caught up in the big wreck. Sheldon Creed finished 32nd, got caught up in the big incident. Was really good early in this race, had a fantastic car. I think he would have been a factor to maybe get his first win in his Xfinity Series career, but nothing to show for. Because of that, he finished 32nd. Sammy Smith finished in 33rd. Catherine Lake finished 34th, got caught up in the big crash. Patrick Sarapoli finished 35th. William Sawalch continues to have a terrible season. He finished 36th. It's a shame because William was not at fault for this incident and wreck, but got caught up in someone else's mess, and he finished 36th. Parker Reslab finished 37th, and finishing last in 38th place is Josh Williams. So now, let's talk about the overall race as a whole and get my score and thoughts on today's race. This race was at times very, very frustrating to watch, especially in stage number 1 and stage number 2. Now, look, I'm not frustrated about the lightning delays. I know there were some fans that were kind of upset about the lightning holds and the lightning delays. But they've had these lightning things in the sport for a very long time since what happened at Pocono in 2012. They've had these policies in for a very long time. So NASCAR having to throw a red flag for that situation, I can't blame them for that. I think they made the right call to go ahead and throw those lightning delays. I get some fans were frustrated and upset, but safety needs to be the most number one priority. I get that people want racing to happen, but you can't just start a race of people outside of the grandstands because basically you have spotters up there that could get potentially hurt. So no, I think NASCAR had no choice or option. Plus, I believe it's state law and federal law that they have to follow at this point. But once we got back going green, We had a caution for a wreck, and then we continue going on. We run under caution for 10 or 15 laps because of caution ends stage number 1. Then we go green again. We have another yellow. Then we go back green. Then we have another caution. And then we have another massive wreck and another massive incident that took place at end of stage number 2. And then we got back green once again. We went green for quite a bit in stage 3. Then we had multiple cautions and incidents that ended on a good finish. Now, I will say the finish of this race was actually really fun. I think the final restart, especially in some of those last runs, I thought were really, really good. But generally, I thought the racing product tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway was just not good. And this is an issue I have with the Xfinity Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway, not calling it Echo Park. I think that the Xfinity Series, they don't have great racing like the next-gen car. The next-gen car races extremely well at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Say what you want to say about the other tracks where I think the Xfinity Series thrives better. The next-gen car races really, really well at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It just races fantastic and really, really good. You compare that to the Xfinity Series. There's usually 2 types of races you're going to get. You're either going to get a race where nothing happens in an RCR car like Austin Hill or Jesse Love goes to victory lane, or 2, you're going to have a race like the ARCA race at Daytona, for example, where everyone is smashing him up and wrecking every few laps. And honestly, we got a mixture of that tonight. We got a race that was a smash-up wreck, and we almost ran 50, I think we nearly ran 60 laps under caution in this race, and we nearly ran half this race under yellow. And then you had moments of this race where nothing happened for 20 or 30 laps. And to me, that's just what's frustrating. And I got to be honest here, I love the Xfinity Series a lot, and I think the Xfinity Series this year has had some really good races in the lower series, like the Mexico race, for example, for that turned into a chaotic fest, or some of the other races in the Xfinity Series, like some of the other Super Speedway races. But I feel like we've been seeing a major trend in the NASCAR Xfinity Series this year, where these races are turning into crapshoots and they're turning into wreck fest. I go back to Nashville, for example, early. There was a lot of wrecks early in the event. Luckily, we didn't have a lot of wrecks near the end of the race, but the beginning of that race was a wreck fest. The end of the Charlotte race, I think we went over 10 cautions in the Xfinity Series race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Pocono, we had a race that was, 120 or 130, maybe 80 or 100 laps or something like that. We had 10 cautions in that race. I'm sorry, that is absolutely ridiculous. We had 10 cautions in a 100-lap race. That's not acceptable. That's absolutely ridiculous that we couldn't get long green flag runs. And this has been the issue at Xfinity this year. You'd think they would have learned from what happened in the Xfinity race at Martinsville, where they're not causing wrecks and they're not causing incidents every single race. But instead, they're wrecking every single week, and it's been one of the most frustrating things I've seen with the NASCAR Xfinity Series this year. I'm not angry, I'm just frustrated because I love the Xfinity Series, because the Xfinity Series, they have a fantastic broad product. Their broadcasts are usually really, really good. They had some issues with the audio tonight, but they generally have good broadcasts. Kyle Busch was phenomenal up in the broadcast booth tonight and did an unbelievable and really, really good job. But I'm getting frustrated that every single one of these races is turning into wreckfest. I would just like to go 1 week where we're not having some sort of wreckfest, we're not having some sort of caution fest in the Xfinity Series, and we can have some good racing. Again, the end of this race was really, really solid. I enjoyed the final 10 laps of the event, but that doesn't make up for the majority of the rest of the race where we ran nearly half of the race under caution. It was a very long day, a very frustrating race to watch at times. I think that the broadcast again was good, but for me, it just wasn't the most exciting race. The finish salvaged it a little bit. I'm not going to give a score of this race tonight because I just got to kind of collect my thoughts before I give a score, because I think this race had good moments for sure, but it was kind of just not the most exciting event, unfortunately, for me. And I didn't like the boring parts of it. And in a nutshell, it just was way too much of a chaotic wreck fest. And I wasn't the most excited about the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway, also known as Echo Park. I'm not calling it those. I don't really care for the Echo Park name. So, that is going to be it for my NASCAR Xfinity Series race review from Atlanta Motor Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's race. Your thoughts on today's race, let me know below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And congratulate Nick Sanchez on picking up his first career win. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Later today on the channel, since most likely past midnight when this video goes out, you will be seeing the NASCAR NASCAR Cup review and the Xfinity review, or truck review, I should say, from Ryan Rock in Atlanta. You're also going to be seeing a starting lineup video for the Cup race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And if any major news break, we'll discuss it live tomorrow. Then Sunday, we are going to have the silly season predictions for 2026, depending on the weather. If one of the races gets rained out to Sunday, then that silly season predictions is going to get pushed back to Monday. If things remain on schedule, there will be a news video dropping on Monday. We've got some stuff on RFK Racing to talk about, maybe some updates on the Daniel Suarez contract situation, and some other stuff that was talked about from Atlanta. We got content coming out, people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Carl Skirt, Bush, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, Carson Quaffle, all the good stuff. Cletus Farron, Dodge, Ram, you name it. We'll talk about all that stuff on the channel in the coming days and weeks along with Chase Elliott. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content, other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, buddy.